Hello, Sandeep.
Hey, Gus, welcome to the show, and also for our listeners. Hey, everybody, welcome to the podcast Reclaiming Happiness with Sandeep Neutron, which is myself. I'm really excited to have a guest speaker for the podcast today. This is the first time we have ever invited the guest, and I'm pleased to introduce one of my dear friend from East Coast, United States of America, born and raised in New York City. Currently, I believe you're joining from Philadelphia.
I'm in the Pennsylvania area. Yeah.
Pennsylvania, rather. So we have Gustavo joining for the podcast. Hey, man. First off, thank you so much for for accepting the offer and making a history, the first ever guest in my podcast. I thank you very much. How have you been, Gustavo?
Yeah, thanks, bro. It's a pleasure to be your first guest on your podcast. But I've been great. Doing as much traveling as I can do during these times. Yeah, just enjoying the fall season. The leaves are all changing here and stuff, so it's pretty nice.
Awesome. And why don't you go about and introduce yourself a little more, so that our listeners can sort of get a feel of who you are. What are you into nowadays? What are you up to these days?
Yeah, sure. So I am a philosophy graduate from Brooklyn College in New York City. I've worked in the restaurant industry for 12 years. That's how we're connected through the restaurants in New York City.
Sure.
And since then, I went to Europe and got an ESL certification to teach people English online. And also I just completed a UX design program, and now I'm in an internship. So that goes hand in hand with coding. I create the designs, and then the coders code them up. And now, currently, I'm in an internship for a UX design, and next month I'll be going to Puerto Rico.
Wow.
Yeah, to do some exploring. I'm originally Puerto Rican.
Is that work related, or is it part of your trip that you I believe you like to go for trips? And I was really fascinated watching you over Instagram stories. Your last trip to so many countries in Europe, right? Was that last year?
Yeah, that was last year. I always try to take a trip, but I try to make it, I guess, as impactful as possible and make the most of it. But there, I was doing the English teaching, so I went and got a certificate to teach English while traveling.
Wow.
And this time, I'm just doing the internship. It's completely online, so I'm doing that while being in Puerto Rico. So on my off time, I'm going to be exploring the island a bit.
Awesome. Even in inside United States, I think you like to explore different cities. I've seen you move to New Orleans for quite some time, right? Even West Coast.
Yeah. So after I graduated from New York, and always being in New York my entire life, I kind of had an urge to travel a bit more. So I ended up moving to New Orleans for about 2 years. And then I ended up living in Chicago on and off for a bit, and a little bit of Florida, also like West Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale area. But now I'm in Pennsylvania. I was kind of checking out to see if I wanted to live here more long term, but I've decided against that. So it's back to traveling.
Awesome. Yeah, I've been meaning to include a segment, perhaps for a few minutes, really wanted to know more about your travels in Europe. You said, like the cycling adventure you had.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about it? Like, how did you feel? Like, what you did besides you said ESL, like your traveling packages, your motivations behind, and some of the ways you explore the countries and the towns.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I originally went on the Europe trip because I just wanted to break up the monotony of just the everyday working in a restaurant, and I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do with my life because I had this bachelor's degree. I could get into a master's program, but nothing really felt like it was calling me. So I just wanted to do something out of my comfort zone. So I decided to do the ESL program. And then it was only a month long in Barcelona. So then after that, I decided that Europe's very bikeable. So I
Yeah.
decided to bring my bike with me, get it shipped there.
Wow.
And after the ESL program ended and I graduated, I went down the southern coast, and I visited probably like 15 countries in Spain. 15 cities in Spain, and
Yeah.
ended at Sevilla, Spain. Ended up
Yeah.
selling my bike there, and then I started taking the plane to different countries. So after Spain, I ended up in Berlin. I was flying all with Ryanair. Ryanair is like a cheap airline company in Europe where you get like, I don't know, 15 euros for a one-way trip to a city that's like on the other side of Europe. It's pretty insane.
Yeah.
Because nothing like that exists in the United States. So I took advantage of it, and I went to Berlin. Then after Berlin, I went to Budapest. I went to
Wow.
Prague. After Prague, I ended up in Belgium. And then I finished off in Amsterdam.
Wow. Wow. It looks like we need to invite you again for another episode and just talk about travel, man. But let me refocus on the about the podcast. And as you know a little bit, the podcast we're delving more into the well-being and personal happiness, and I want to sort of talk everything and anything which relates to our personal happiness. That said, what have you been doing lately, or even in past years, to achieve your dreams? And do personal happiness and well-being fall under the category of your ambition list, or is it just a byproduct of some of the productive habits you tend to engage yourself in, but you do not really isolate and ponder about personal happiness and well-being as much? Am I being clear, or is it too long?
No, yeah,
Yeah.
totally understand. So there's this philosopher, Aristotle, and he talks a lot about eudaimonia.
Yeah.
So to come to eudaimonia is essentially the pursuit of happiness. So he tries to find out what's the greatest good in the world, and he goes through money. He takes a look at pride. He takes a look at everything, power, and in the end, he finds out that happiness is the ultimate good. There's nothing you should be striding for more than happiness in your life. And happiness is not an end point. It's a habit. It's continuous every single day, waking up, being happy, doing things that make you happy. So I try to follow the path of eudaimonia.
Wow.
The pursuit of happiness of every day, making the most out of my day, doing things that make me happy, and realizing in the end that that's the most important thing. The most important thing is your happiness. So I feel like a lot of people stay in their comfort zones because it's what they're used to, but it's not exactly what's bringing them happiness. And I think that's a big difference between, you know, the average Joe and those people who are living their dreams. It's like those people who are living their dreams are people who are constantly thinking about their own happiness and what's going to bring that and how to accomplish that. I like to always think back about, you know, look at the past and the future. I like to look at me when I was like 10 years old and what I wanted to accomplish and what I thought was going to bring me happiness. And I always think, you know, is my 10-year-old self, you know, proud of who I am today? And that's kind of how I judge my success, because when I was 10 years old, all I cared about was being happy. I didn't care about all the vanity in the world, you know, like the riches and all that other stuff. And then I kind of look at my older self. I'm like, where do I want to be when, you know, I'm in my 50s? You know, how do I want to be living? What does my lifestyle look like? And then I look at the path I'm on and I'm seeing, does that lead to that? You know, I think that on a daily basis, or at least a monthly basis, you have to look at, you know, where are you headed? What are you doing? And what is this all gonna equal in the end?
Wow, amazing. But Gus, did you had that natural ability to sort of your natural inclination towards eudaimonia, like before you you know, I mean, like before you turned 2021? Did you do you think you always had that sense of you know, striving for happiness, or I'm gonna attach a point, or any drastic events or tragic incidents in your life might have shaped you to appreciate life and be grateful about it?
I would say that when I was younger, I think I was still trying to before I was 21, I was still trying to figure out life and I think I was definitely more on the superficial level of, you know, I just want to be rich and I just want to have, you know, nice things and just be like, you know, living the dream, which I didn't know how to get to or what I wanted to do really yet. I just knew I wanted those things. But that something has stuck out that was kind of impactful for me. Magical mushrooms, actually.
Really?
Yeah, no, for real. You know, wow. Something that's naturally.
When was it? If you may, like, okay, can you share a little bit about that experience with us?
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So it's actually legal in 2 states now to use these mushrooms, these specific. There's like over 100 species of mushrooms, but there's certain ones that have magical, like, kind of properties. They've a chemical in the psilocybin, which kind of gives you an effect of, I don't know, it's like very connectivity to the earth, where you see things for what it is, and it's a very spiritual kind of thing. But it definitely opened my eyes to that. I was chasing material objects rather than chasing what I really should have been chasing, you know, which is happiness and those tangibles that are kind of abstract. They're not something you can grab onto. It's something that, you know, makes you feel better on the inside. But without those experiences, I felt like, you know, society kind of all tells you through, you know, conditioning of watching commercials and talking to other people. Everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants to have the nice body. Everybody is focusing on all these things, but they're not focusing on what's going to make them happy.
Sure. Yeah.
So I think that it kind of opened up my eyes. When I was 21, I had a very experience, and I was just getting into philosophy in school. I just kind of discovered it because I didn't learn it in high school or anything. So I learned it in college, and it just kind of all together came together and just it blew my mind. And
I
after
think
that, yeah, it started to
it
change.
complemented philosophy. Everything complemented each other, I believe, right?
Yeah, it, like created the perfect storm.
Yeah, awesome, bro. Yeah, that's so awesome. So we are already 15 minutes for the podcast. I really want to keep on talking. Let's keep on talking. I want to know a little. I want to delve into even slightly, not necessarily deeper, but into the subject again. Um, can you tell us some of the personal tips that you practice in your daily life to keep yourself healthy, fit, and happy? Or
Yeah.
or you are or you see your friend or family member practicing it, or something that you aspire to do it yourself, even though you may not have done it already.
Um, yeah. So I've been lately getting a lot into alkaline dieting.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically every food that you eat has a pH.
Okay.
Some things are very acidic, some things are very alkaline, and I notice when I intake a lot of acidic food that I get heartburn and other symptoms of just having too much acidity in me. So I try to balance it out with eating a lot of alkaline food. Um, Dr. Sabi is a guy who was a doctor who ended up dying not too long ago, but a while back. From he ended up getting arrested, and they gave him like radiation treatment, and he died of like cancer or something like that. But basically, he was sabotaged because he said back in the day he had the cure for HIV. He said he had the cure for cancer, and it was all through eating healthy, and knowing what you're eating and understanding where it came from. So Dr. Sabi is kind of a inspiration in dieting that I've been definitely following. Fasting, I do pretty regularly, and I didn't even
Wow.
know I was fasting. I pay attention to what my body wants. I don't eat because I'm told, oh, it's breakfast time, it's time to eat. It's like I eat when I'm hungry, you know. And a lot of the times, I don't feel like I need to eat something in the morning. Fasting usually comes in the morning. You basically use up all that food and everything that's been in your system from yesterday in the morning. So you fast all morning long till like probably like 1 o'clock ish, and then I finally eat something. And I come to find out that's like an extremely healthy be doing.
Sure. Yeah.
Also, meditation, I think is an important one that really, I think people take it too serious and think that they have to clear their complete mind, and they have to get into this deep phase of meditation, when really just closing your eyes and just trying to just catch your breathing for a few minutes makes a huge difference. I think sometimes
You're right. Yeah. Absolutely. Yes.
just got to shut it down a little bit. And also exercise wise, I'm not a big like go to the gym and weightlift kind of guy. I'm more of like, I like to bike, like cycling, or I do boxing too. I like to do sports, and I play soccer a lot. So I just try to. That comes back to like when I was a kid type stuff. Those are the things I liked when I was a kid. Like I loved riding bikes. I loved playing soccer and all those things, and I still enjoy them to this day. It's like I try to keep the inner child alive.
Yeah. I think that's the key. That's one of the keys, I believe. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. So those are definitely, I would say, my top things.
Sure. Gus, that said, do you have some thought, perhaps for young listeners, maybe in Nepal or around the globe, right? That you really think they should stay away from? Some of the things you see in society, maybe from your personal experience. what could be some lessons for them, you surely want them to stay away from?
In the sense of food, or just in the sense of the life?
Or maybe in life in general, like, um, it could be anything, it could be philosophical, maybe, you might want to say, you want people to stay away from drugs, or like a habit of lying to people, anything that you feel
Yeah.
like, you start engaging in some form, but they should really stop engaging on those activities if they really want to be happy and feel that sense of well-being in the long term.
Yeah, well, I would definitely say I think traveling is important when you're in your 20s, for sure. I think that if you can leave your 20s being well traveled and just gaining perspective from your travels, not going to travel but just staying on resorts or something like that, but actually connect with different cultures, I think that will teach you more than any school will, because you'll meet people who have things to say that it's stuff that you'd never think of or hear from somebody from that perspective, where I think traveling makes everyone a well-rounded person. When you meet a very racist person or somebody who is very closed-minded, they usually have never left their hometown. They've only been there their entire life. Well-traveled people always tend to be the coolest people, the most interesting people. So I think traveling is important. I think also, following your intuition. I think if you have a bad feeling about something, I think there's nothing wrong with ever just taking a pause and reevaluating what you're doing. Because your intuition always speaks to you. And I never have those moments where I feel like I'm doing something bad, because I try to always do whatever I'm doing. I try to do it from the right place, so I'm never in conflict with my intuition. But when I was younger, I used to always be in conflict with my intuition, because I didn't know really what to trust or what to believe in. But when you do good, good comes back to you, and I think that's the most important thing. Karma is very real.
Sure. Yeah. Lately, I've been feeling deeply about the purpose, and I really, I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying it, but I really felt that the two guiding principle, at least for me, should be love and service. I think through love and accepting, and through service, I see myself as a happier, blissed, satisfied myself.
Yeah, for sure. I think I completely agree with that. Yeah. And love comes in many forms, family love, romantic love, friendship love. And then service is like to others who need the help. And that gives you that purpose, that sense of like, I did something good today.
Right.
Yeah, that's the combo for sure. I think, yeah.
Because like when I reflect back, there were times I think I had what I really wanted for that moment. But if it is all about myself and all about fulfilling my needs, but not really about contributing, it could be the contribution to only one person, or it could be any form of contribution. I didn't feel in retrospective, I don't think I felt that good, even though my needs were met. But if I had to remember incidents when I was making an impact and perhaps helping some others through whatsoever form, I think the impact was profound, and it added to my personal happiness.
Yeah, I think that's the ego versus the soul. It's like, sometimes like society always tells us to do is to feed the ego, get the money, get the car, like, oh, you're living good, but like, what about what you're doing for everybody else? You know what I mean? It's like, that doesn't feed any of that. It's just feeding your ego. It's like when you feed your soul, it's like, you know, you're helping other people. You're doing things that nourish yourself. And it's not supposed to be all about yourself, but in the end, you do feel good, you know. And yeah, I think that's
I guess there's an element of selfishness still, right? Like when I'm like contributing or you know all the service acts, you know, it makes me feel good. That's what I'm doing, but it's so you know it's contradicting to if I look from surface level, but it complements. You know, when I'm like actually doing it for others, it exactly what you said before. You know, good things lead to better things. You know, it's karma.
Yeah, for sure. And there's nothing wrong with feeling good. It's not like you know, you feeling good about doing something is bad. It's just it's a byproduct of doing good things. Good things come from it. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Gus, it's so awesome to connect with you, to have you on the podcast. We are in 26 minutes mark, so I think we have to end our episode today.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to say to the audience, to the listeners, whoever might be listening right now? Anything you want to say before we end our episode today?
No, I don't believe so. I'm just, you know, I'm very humbled and thankful that for you to allow me on your show. You know, it's a great talk whenever we get together.
Absolutely. You know, it's all about sharing and having a good time. You know, by no means we are preaching, or by no means we are perfect, but I think we are living in this beautiful era, this information era, you know, where like things like this would be a dream come true, like even like 20 years before. But now, yeah, I think this is magical, and I'm really grateful once again. And we talk again, and I love to invite you in future. We talk about your travels.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds great.
All right, Gus, have a good one. Thank you.
All right, bye, Sandeep.
All right, thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow listeners, thank you so much for tuning in for this episode with